Kid can throw a punch. CalmWaters. Summary. Luz, who is going to high school in the human realm during the time skip, is bullied terribly during her first year. Her family comes to her defense. Or, why you don't mess with any member of the Clawthorne-Noceda-Whispers family. Notes. Warning, Rain is purposely misgendered by a character multiple times. Work text. Ms. Clawthorne, was it? Sit down. I'll only ask you one more time. Luz's principal tightly folded his hands, his eyes fixed on Ida as she hovered behind one of the seats in front of his desk. Rain was in the seat to the left of it, Camila in the seat to the right. Ida sat down, mostly for the sake of moving this along. No wonder the kid punched someone. This place is basically jail. And I've been in jail, I should know. Camila gave her ankle a light kick. The principal cleared his throat, his gaze shifting to Camila. And, to clarify, they are. He motioned to Ida and Rain. Ida was fidgeting in the seat she was in, Rain tugging at the sleeves of the human shirt Camila had told them to wear to blend in. My estranged sister and her partner, Camila clasped her hands together in her lap, her thumb smoothing over the rest of her hand. It was a more subtle way to squirm that she had likely settled for because of the human realm. As opposed to Ida's general position shifting and Rain's habit of grabbing at the edges of their uncomfortable clothing. The two of them had already raised quite a few eyebrows just on the walkover. Can't you see the resemblance? Ida pushed herself up further in an attempt to sit up straight, her legs crossing and uncrossing a few times as she tried to make herself comfortable. These two spend a lot of time with Luz outside of school, Camila said. They're basically second parents. So when you suggested this meeting, I thought it was best that they were present to hear what you had to say too. We've all been worried since I got the call this afternoon. I can see the resemblance between these two and your child, the principal said, shooting Rain a glare as they slowly reached out a finger to touch the blue lava lamp that was on a shelf near the desk. Getting down to business, he raised his voice to draw the attention of all three adults in front of him. Luz Noceda, the child in question, punched another student. Now, our school has a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to violence. What kind of school has a zero-violence policy? Ida threw her arm up in the air. How else will they learn to fight in real life? Do not interrupt, Ms. Clawthorne, his glare intensified. As I was saying, we have a zero-tolerance policy when . Did you get Luz's side of the story? Camila pushed her chair forward, her hands resting against the principal's desk. She met his eyes and Ida felt a delighted shiver run up her spine. Once upon a time, she had wondered what human could have been the parent of someone as strange and amazing as Luz. Now she knew. I just spoke about interruptions to your sister, Ms. Noceda -. My daughter told me that she tried to explain herself, but the teachers wouldn't let her. Meaning there's no way you know what actually happened, yes? Camila's expression was calm, but her fingers tapped against the table. The man in front of her was silent. Luz has been bullied since she came to this school, she told us, and we raised an issue with it. We were told it was resolved. Luz told us it was too, because she's a 15-year-old child and she doesn't want to feel like a bother, even though we've told her time and time again that she has never won. She and I talked about this after the school day today. She told me that the other kids had surrounded her. They were calling her terrible names. She couldn't escape. So she did the last thing she knew how to do. A student being bullied does not give them justification to punch another student. The principal rather roughly threw his hands down upon looking back at Ida and Rain. The witches in question were both fidgeting again, Ida having moved upside down in her seat without anyone noticing. Rain was looking out the window, their fingers tapping against their opposite arm while they hummed. "Miss Clawthorne, Mr. Whispers, are you even listening?" "MX, Whispers," Rain said. "What?" "I don't use the term mister." "All right, Miss Whispers," he sighed, "were you even listening?" Rain spoke without drawing their eyes away from the window. "MX. Whispers. I don't use the term miss. And yes, I was listening. Luz is a good kid. She hasn't had any violent behavior in the past. She's barely had any marks on her report since starting high school, actually. And yet, this girl still punched a boy who had done nothing to her," the principal said. "Were you listening?" Ida flipped herself back up, her hair in her face. The boy was part of the group of kids harassing her. "I would have done much worse if I was in her position. You should be glad she's a good kid." "Not helping," Camila said, in a tone low enough that only Ida could hear. The woman in question flashed her a grin. There was a moment of silence between the four of them. Ida used the opportunity to look around. The room only had one window, the one that Rain was seated next to, and it was very dark with the lights out. The principal had quite a bit of human junk on a shelf over his desk. She made it her personal goal there and then to steal at least 5 items before they could finally leave the office. The black market had sprung back pretty quickly after the fall of Bellows, and just because she was considering going into education didn't mean she still wasn't an eager participant in said market. Here, the principal, whose name Ida decided wasn't worth bothering to learn, lifted a thick yellow booklet from one of his desk drawers. He dropped it on the desk with a thud. "This is the student handbook. Luz signed it this year. It specifically forbids physical violence." Rain reached out and took it, holding it up for the other two to see, their eyes narrowing as they scanned the pages. Finally, they looked up. It also forbids harassment of students based on race, gender, religion, sexuality, ability, class, and, I suppose, nothing else. Unless you have proof, we cannot suspend the other kids for dash. "Security cameras," Camila said. "Stop cutting me off. There are security cameras in the hallways, we can get proof." Camila stood up, pushing the chair closer to the desk. Rain and Ida did the same. "We'll be back with the proof you apparently need within the week. For now, leave our daughter alone." The three of them turned to leave, the principal rubbing his temples, then pausing, looking to Rain. "Mr. Whispers, you forgot your jacket? Cloak?" Rain didn't stop to answer. Ida turned around instead, grabbing the cloak. "They've told you multiple times to stop and what you can call them instead." "What the hell is your problem?" He didn't respond. She gritted her teeth and walked off. What the hell is the problem with this place in general? Luz has never done anything like this unprovoked. Besides, the other kid was fine, only knocked out one tooth. I'll have to train her to knock out more. How about we don't train the child who just nearly got suspended for punching how to punch better, okay? Camila said, putting a hand on Ida's arm. The two of them had gotten along quite well since their initial introduction, easing up enough to be their true selves around one another. If there was one thing Luz was good at, it was unifying people. "I am very concerned that this is a place Luz has to go to 5 days a week." Rain came in, still clutching at the edge of their shirt. "I might pull her out and try and find a better district or something," Camila sighed. "Maybe they would be willing to take her if we explained what's happened." Rain and Ida followed her outside without another word. Thank you for coming, though. Rain, you don't have to go to any subsequent meeting if it makes you uncomfortable. I'm going to report the principal. It's all right, Rain said. Ida sighed and reached for their hand. It's not. Luz? Ida knocked against her door later that evening. The kid had run to the demon realm the second she got out of school that day. Camila had said she could stay the night, and possibly the next day, after what had happened. Ida was all for keeping Luz away from that kid prison as long as possible. Luz, she knocked again after getting no response. It's Ida. Rain's with me and they're holding King. But those two can go downstairs if you want. There was the brief sound of shuffling, then the door was opened a crack. Ida waited while Luz slowly expanded the crack until there was enough space for someone else to squeeze through. She did just that, Rain and King waiting in the hallway. Hey, Luz sat down on the bed Ida and Rain had put together a few weeks ago, swinging her legs back and forth. Hey yourself, Ida sat next to her. I like the hoodie portraits you added to the walls. Makes this place feel properly creepy. Also winds him up when things are boring. Luz let out a small laugh, then stopped, biting her lip. Ida waited. Are you mad at me? I know Mama told you what happened. Nope. Ida answered immediately. Luz looked up, meeting her eyes. Really? Yes, really, Ida snorted. Kid, do you remember who you're talking to? My files from your age are pretty thick. Rain's too. They were mostly an accessory to my crime, but, they were their own mischievous mastermind when they wanted to be. Yeah, Luz gave a playful roll of her eyes. I mean, I was there when they made the plan for the day of. Her voice trailed off. Like it usually did when she remembered old events while she was already upset. The kicking of her legs increased. Ida put a hand on her shoulder. Can I see your fists? Luz held them up for her, Ida rubbing her thumb over the cuts on one of them. Hey, you did a pretty good job, kid. I'm obligated to say that you shouldn't punch people, since I know Camila. But in the situation you were in, you handled it well. We'll take care of the rest. That's our job, as your grown-up figure people. You can just say parents, Luz said, throwing her arms around her waist and resting her head against her stomach. Ida smiled, ruffling Luz's hair. You sure you're cool with that? Yes. Okay, then. That's our job as your parents, she smiled, Luz returning it. You feeling better now? The girl nodded. Good. We'll talk about this later. Want to join Rain and King downstairs for now? King's in those pajamas you got him. Eee. Luz jumped up. He'll look so cute. She was out of the room in a flash, a blur of purple hoodie. Ida smiled and stood up to join her. Parent did sound cooler than grown-up figure person. King. I bestow the title of Agent of Chaos to you. Make me proud, Ida dangled her son in front of the window to the principal's office in Luz's school. I will. King grinned, wiggling excitedly in her arm. This is a very bad idea. Rain came in from behind them, their cloak pulled over their head. Duh. The majority of our ideas are bad ones. Oh, I'm very aware. I didn't say we shouldn't do it. Ida watched King pick at the window's lock with a smile. She and Luz had recently jointly taught him how to properly break into other people's buildings. With maximum property damage, of course. You sure you got this, buddy? She asked. Yep. I'll cause so much chaos that he'll leave his job for good, King turned around and gave her a quick hug because, agent of chaos or not, he was a snuggler. Ida let him loose inside the room after they got the window open, listening to the principal's screams from the other end with a content smile. Once they were done with him, they had some classmates of Lou's to visit. After all, mess with a member of the Clawthorne-Noceda-Whisper family, and you will live to regret it.